Welcome to Confident Leadership in Color. I'm Hanna Zaxmy, leadership coach, mentor, and Leaders for Leader. And this is the final episode in our summer series. And now we are starting to go into autumn, at least here in Sweden. And therefore the hammock soon will be an office chair again. But over the last weeks, we have paused, noticed, listened, and reflected. And today, as we close this summer series, we move into the final part, N for next step. And today's question is, what is the one small step I can take before I try to solve the whole thing? Yeah, one step at a time. This feels like a very fitting place to the end because reflection is important, space is important, listening inwardly is important, noticing what has sparked joy, what feels true, what deserves focus, what supports us, and who needs our presence. All of that matters, but reflection is not meant to become a hiding place. It's meant to help us to move with more intention. Because the perfect plan is not what creates movement. The next step does. And I think this is something many thoughtful leaders need to remember. We can spend a lot of time trying to figure out the whole thing, the whole plan, but sometimes the whole thing is too much to carry. And maybe that's not what we need first. Maybe we do not need to solve the whole journey before we begin. Maybe we need one small step, one test, one honest movement, one action that helps us to learn. I often come back to the image about the paper plane. Because when you fold a paper plane, the first throw is not a final proof. It's not meant to prove that the whole journey will work. It simply shows you something. Maybe the plane needs a smaller adjustment. Maybe the angle needs to change. Maybe it flies further than expected. Maybe it drops quickly and you realize something needs to be folded differently. But without the test throw, you only have a folded idea in your hands. And that is why one step matters. The first step is not meant to carry the whole journey. It's simply meant to create movement. For me, most things have not started with a perfect plan. They have started with a first version, a draft, a question, a small test, a decision to try something that was good enough for now and safe enough to try. And often that small step gave me more clarity than another week of thinking would have done. Because once something moves, we can see more. We can adjust, we can learn, we can take the next step from there. And maybe that is also what this whole summer series has been about. Not finding one perfect answer, but creating space to notice and then allowing what we notice to become one small movement. So here's today's final question for this summer series. What is the one small step I can take before I try to solve the whole thing? I'm not saying how can I fix everything or how can I make the perfect plan? No, instead, what is one small step? What is one safe test? What can I do that is good enough for now and safe enough to try? It does not have to be big. It simply has to create movement. And here is my invitation for your extra 10 minutes today. Take a notebook or open a note on your phone. Write these 3 sentence starters. One thing I have been overthinking is. One small I can take is. I can do this in 10 minutes by. Keep it very small. Smaller than you first think. Small enough that you can actually do it. Not someday. Not when the full plan is ready. But now. And then make this test throw to create movement. Because sometimes the smallest step gives you the information your thinking could not give you. Next week, we return to the normal podcast rhythm again, at least from a podcast perspective. And I have to say, after this summer, there is so much moving in me, so many new perspectives, so many reflections, so many thoughts and ideas that I want to share with you. The challenge may not be finding something to talk about. The challenge may be choosing what to pick first. But maybe that is also the point. We do not need to carry everything into the next episode. We take one step, and then next week, one more. So today, carry this question with you. What is the one small step I can take? Take what has become clear in the quiet, fold it into one small next step, and make a test throw. Just one step. And next week, we take one more. Thank you for listening to Confident Leadership in Color. Follow the podcast as we continue the journey next week. And as always, be confident, be you.